Greetings and salutations, and welcome back to the channel. As per the usual, I am Gobble as Cobble. Greetings and salutations, and welcome back. As you can see, it's time for another Magic the Gathering unboxing. This one we have the Outlaws Thunder Junction, which has been told that is has the theme of Cowboy Bebop. We'll find out eventually. This one's actually was $65, and they have updated that there is 9 14 card booster packs, so that's a helpful scenario instead of there. So they've upped our booster packs card, the special box, the alt, the lands, the spinners, all the usual shit. So without further ado, let's get back into it. Yeah, so this was, like I said, this was one of the more recent ones come out. Let's see this time. They just give us some paper art. That's about that. So, and as we have come to realize, now you get tokens, full art cardboard cops, cardboard pieces of art. We got just the whole bunch of the pop out card scenarios. Like I said, we got another full art piece here, and we have the condition counters, from my understanding. And more stuff. And a one counter. So we'll get more of those later on. But you're not here for that. Did they? Okay, so this was about to say, these are they adjusted there so they wouldn't lace, which is weird. They did the lands separated, but not in they just covered them instead of saran wrap them. So that's different. Lost the dice. And nice speckled 20, D20. It's all a roll down, so we get all these sorted. And again, they also change it up. They're actually doing all the same sleeve now instead of actually the multiple designs, which kind of sucks, but it just shows they went with one artist and they just went from there. So we got these, we got that. We'll get more of those later, but we'll go through. Let's see here. Zoom out a little bit. So we'll first pull out our... The good thing is they're not actually bent this time. So this is the alternate art for the Key to the Vault. 2-drop legendary artifact equipment. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, look at that many cards from the top of your library. You may exile a non-land card from among them. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. You may cast the exiled cards without paying their mana cost, equip cost of 3. So, we have that alternate art. We have... Ooh, they're back to full arts. Fancy holographic full arts. So, there's that one. The water. The mountain. The swamp. They look really cool. They actually did a really good job on the artwork. They got a little bit of a different feel to them, too. Full art mountain, the forest, and they have your standard lands. Going back to the traditional holographic mountains and stuff like that. But I'm a preferred person of the full arts. on. We got some more non-flashy lands. And like I said, the traditional cards. Mountains, forest. And just more essentially how to play your turn, the formats, how to cast spells, and the blocking and attacking card. But always good. Sorry, I just bumped that. But if you're enjoying our content, please give us a like on the video. If you're enjoying the video, please give us a like in the comments below, or on the video. And if you're enjoying our content, please subscribe to the channel, because there's a wide variety of things we've been casting as of late. So, without further ado, let's open up our first pack of the day. First one up is the Prickly Pear, 3-drop, 2/2, Plant Mercenary. Okay. 3-drop, 2 colorless, 1 red. When Prickly Pear enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 red mercenary creature token with tap. Target creature you control gets +1 until end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. So, tokens that give fire breathing. Interesting way to start the series off. Snakeskin Veil, 1-drop, green. Instant, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control that gains hexproof until end of turn. For those that don't remember hexproof, it can't be the target of spells or abilities your opponents control. Next up, Corrupted Conviction, 1-drop, black, instant. An additional cost to casting this spell, sack a creature, draw 2 cards. Next up is the Geyser Drake. 3-drop, 2/3, 2 colorless, 1 blue, Drake, flying. As long as this is not your turn, spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. So it's in a mana flare per se on your opponent's turns. Interesting. Brailed Bighorn, 4-drop, Sheep Mount, Vigilance, 3/4, 3 colorless, 1 white. Whenever Bighorn attacks while saddled, creatures create a 1/1 white sheep creature token. Saddle 2. Tap any number of other creatures you control with total power 2 or more. This mount becomes saddled, and until end of turn, saddle only as a sorcery. So it's going back to one of the older commandment mechanics that's just a rename of something. So saddle 2. Power 2 or more, tap 1. So essentially it's tap things to bring it in, or to equip it, or whatever. I don't know. Strange ass shit. Skullduggery. 1-drop, instant. Until end of turn, target creature you control gets +1/+1, and target creature an opponent controls gets -1/-1. Not bad. Put that on a stick. Next up, the Deep Mark Desperado. 3-drop, 2/4. Hermoid Hermaiden Mercenary. Who fucking knows, but 2-drop, 3-drop, 2 colorless, 1 blue, 2/4. Whenever you commit a crime, each opponent mills 3 cards. This ability triggers only once each turn. Targeting opponents attacking their control or cards in their graveyard is a crime. This seems a little out of reach for my liking. So, it's great for a mill deck, but there's a lot of stuff to chew for. But, anyhow. Take 4 ride, 3-drop, 2 colorless, 1 red, sorcery. Take a ride, has flash as long as you've committed a crime this turn. Gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap that creature, it gains haste until end of turn. Next up, the Servant of Stingler, 2-drop, 1/3, human warlock, 1 colorless, 1 black. Death touch. When the servant of a stinger deals combat damage to a player, if you're committed a crime this turn, you may sack servant of the stinger. If you do, search your library for a card, put it into your hand, and shuffle your library. Ooh, we got a mythic rare right off the get-go. We got a Golden Vein Hydra, X green. Hydra, 0/0, Vigilance, Trample, Haste. Gold Vein Hydra enters the battlefield with X 1/1 counters on it. When Gold Vein Hydra dies, create a number of tapped creature treasure tokens equal to its power. So we got a mythic right off the gate. Double mythic. Rest in Peace. 2-drop, 1 colorless, 1 white enchantment. When Rest in Peace enters the battlefield, exile all graveyards. If a card or token we put into a graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. So that's pretty much a lockdown style there. This is interesting art. This is Prosperity. It looks like it's just a newspaper article. But it's Savage Smash. It's a 3-drop, sorcery, 1 colorless, 1 red, 1 green. Sorcery, target creature you control gets +2/+2 until end of turn. It fights target creature you don't control. And then we have Boombox, 2-drop, artifact, 6 colorless, summons for 2 colorless, artifact, pay 6 colorless, tap, sack the Boombox, destroy up to 1 target artifact, up to 1 target creature, and up to 1 target land. We got another full art forest, and we have a treasure token. There's a lot of cards, so it's like 14 cards per booster pack now. So let's have that. That's interesting. We got 2 mythics right off the rip. Oh yes, they do. That's cool. They're back to the full art cards as well. So that's always pretty nifty. I always like the full art cards. First up is the Voracious Vermint, 2-drop, 2/2, 1 green, 1 colorless, 1 green creature Vermint. Vigilance, pay 1, sack Vermont, destroy target artifact or enchantment. Next up, we have the Nuzumi Linebreaker, 1-drop, 1/1 Rat Warlock. When Nizmi Linebreaker dies, create a 1/1 red mercenary creature token with tap target creature you control gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. Next up, we have Seize the Secrets. 3-drop, sorcery, 2 colorless, 1 blue. This spell costs 1 less to cast if you committed a crime this turn. Targeting opponents, anything they control and or cards in their graveyard is a crime. Draw 2 cards. For those that are wondering what committing a crime is in this format, in this set. Next up, we have a Sterling Supplier, 5-drop, 3/4 Bird Soldier, 4 colorless, 1 white. Flying, when Sterling Supplier enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on another target creature you control. Next up, we have a Reckless Lackey, 1-drop, 1/2, Goblin Pirate, 1 red. First strike, haste. Tap 2 colors and a red, sack the lacquer to draw a card and create a treasure token. Next up, we have Razzle Dazzler, 2-drop, 1/2, Human Wizard, 1 colorless, 1 blue. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, put a 1/1 counter on Razzle Dazzler. It can't be blocked this turn. Next up, we have the Discerning Peddler, 2-drop, 2/2, Human Rogue, 1 colorless, 1 red. When Discerning Peddler enters the battlefield. You may discard a card. If you do, draw the card. Next up, form a posse. It's an X. It's a sorcery. X, colorless X, red and white. Create X 1/1 red mercenary creature tokens with tap. Target creature you control gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. So, form a posse. Interesting. Next up, we have the Bovine Intervention. 2-drop, instant, 1 colorless, 1 white. Destroy target artifact or creature. A controller creates a 2/2 white ox creature token. Next up, we have Shackle Slinger. Slinger. 3-drop, 3/2, human soldier. 2 colorless, 1 blue. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, choose target creature an opponent controls. If it's tapped, put a stun counter on it. Otherwise, tap it. So a permanent with a stun counter would be 10 tap. Remove 1 from it instead. So it's another mechanic. We got a rare of the deck, Marchesa, Dealer of Death. A 3-drop, 3/4. Human Rogue, blue, black, red. Whenever you commit a crime, you may pay 1. If you do, look at the top 2 cards of your library, put one of them in your hand and the other into the graveyard. Now we got another Prosperity card. Humiliate. 2-drop, 1 white, 1 black, sorcery. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from it. That player discards that card. Put a 1 counter on creature you control. This is a Trained Arnex. 2-drop, 3/1. Cat Beast Mount. 1 colorless, 1 red, white. Whenever Trained Arnex attacks while saddled, it gains first strike until end of turn. Scry 1. Saddle 2, we talked about that earlier. And apparently we have dual lands in this set too. We have the Festering Glutch, Land Desert. Festering Glutch enters the battlefield tap. Whenever Festering enters the battlefield, it deals 1 damage to target opponent. Tap for a swamp or green or a forest. So a land that literally does damage to your opponents. Interesting. Just keep bouncing that land back and hurting people. Interesting start to the set so far. Next up, we have the Ankle Biter. 1-drop, 1/1, 1 for green, Snake, Death Touch. Next up, we have the Raven of Fell Omens. 2-drop, 1/2, bird, 1 colorless, 1 black, flying. When you commit a crime, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. This ability triggers only once each turn. Next up, we have the Spring Splasher. 2-drop, 2/1, Frog Beast, 1 colorless, 1 blue. Whenever Spring Splasher attacks, target creature defending player controls gets -3/-0 until end of turn. Next up, we have the Stagecoat Security. It's a 5-drop, 4/5, human soldier, 4 colorless, 1 white. When Stagecoat Security enters the battlefield, creatures you control get +1/+1, gain vigilance end of turn. Plot. 3 colorless, 1 white. You may pay 3 colorless and 1 white and exile this card from your hand. Cast it as a sorcery on a later turn without paying its mana cost. Plot only as a sorcery. So it's kind of like a suspend until later. So just whenever the timing is right, you pull it off. That's kind of weird, but it doesn't give it like a turn level, like you can only do that for 2 or 3 turns. And exile target card from here. And so then just let it sit on the outside until you feel the necessary for it. Next up is Spinewood's Paladin. 5-drop, 5/4, human knight, 4 colorless, 1 green. Human knight, trample. Whenever Spinewood Paladin enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life. Plot for 4. 3 colorless, 1 green. Next up, Harrier Strix. 1 drop, 1/1 bird, 1 blue. Flying when Harrier Strix enters the battlefield, tap target permanent. Pay 2 colorless and a blue, draw a card, then discard a card. Next up, we have Jen Lightfoot, Sky Explorer, 4 drop. Yeah, 4 drop, 3/3, Human Scout, 2 colorless, 1 white, 1 blue. Flying Vigilance at the beginning of your end step. If you haven't cast a spell from your hand this turn, draw the card. Next up, we have Cunning Coyote, 2 drop, 2/2, 1 colorless, 1 red. Coyote. Haste. When Cunning Coyote enters the battlefield, another target creature you control gets +1/+1 and gains haste until the end of turn. Plot for 2. 1 colorless, 1 red. Next up, we have the Rustler Rampage. 1 drop, instant. 1 white, instant. Spree. Choose 1 or more additional costs. Spree, if you pay 1 additional, it's untap all creatures target player controls. And a different additional +1, target creature gains double strike until end of turn. Interesting. Next up, we got Pani Pal Clear Cutter. It's a giant scout, 6/5, 3 colorless, 1 forest, 2 blue. Reach. When Bonnie Pal Clear Cutter enters the battlefield, create Birnu, a legendary blue ox creature token with this creature's power and toughness equal to the number of lands you control. Whenever you attack, draw a card, then you may put a land card from your hand and or graveyard onto the battlefield. That could be interesting, but we all know where that's based off of, so interesting. Dual rare. We have a Dust a Menace. 2 drop, 2/3, Spirit, 1 colorless, 1 white. Flying, if you control 5 or more untapped lands, Dust and Animatus enters the battlefield with 2 1/1 counters on and lifelink counters on it. Plot for 2. We got a 3 rare pack here. Path to Exile. It's a 1 drop, white, instant. Exile target creature. If a controller may search their library for a basic land card, put that card onto the battlefield tap, then shuffle. That's 3 rares. Make it 4 rares. Holy shit. We have next up the Riku of Many Paths. 3 drop, 3/3, 1 forest, blue island, and mountain. Legendary Human Wizard. Whenever you cast a model spell, what the hell that means, choose up to X, where X is the number of times you choose a mode for this spell. Exile target card, option 1, exile the top card of your library until end of your next turn. You may play it. Option 2, put a 1/1 counter on Riku of Many Paths. It gains trample until end of turn. Or option 3, create a 1/1 blue bird creature token with flying. It's a lot to factor in. But yeah, we played 4 rares on that deck, on that booster pack. Interesting. We have another dual land. It's Forlorn Flats. It's a land desert. When Forlorn enters the battlefield, whenever it enters the play tapped, and when it enters the battlefield, it deals 1 damage to target opponent. Tap for white or black. And then we have our little arena formation. Alright, we're on to the next one. Next up we have Take Up the Shield. 2 drop, instant, 1 colorless, 1 white. Put a 1/1 counter on target creature. It gains lifelink and indestructible until end of turn. Next up we have the Iron Fist Pulverizer. 5 drop, 4/5, Giant Warrior. 4 colorless, 1 red. Reach. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, Iron Fist Pulverizer deals 2 damage to target opponent. Scry 1. Next up we have Giant Beaver. 4-drop, 4/4, Beaver Mount. 3 colorless, 1 forest. Vigilance. Whenever Giant Beaver enters attacks while saddled, put a 1/1 counter on target creature that's saddled it this turn. Saddle 3. Next up, we have the Desert's Dune. 2-drop, instant, 1 colorless, 1 black. Target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn. If it gets an additional -1/-1 until end of turn for each desert you control. So they have land classifications now. Next up, the Failed Fordering. 2-drop, 2-drop, instant, 1 colorless, 1 blue. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. If you control a desert, surveil 1. Look at the top card of your library. You may put it into your graveyard. Next up, we have the Sterling Keykeeper. 2-drop, 2/2, Human Mercenary. 1 colorless, 1 white. 2 colorless, tap target non-mount creature. Tap target non-mount creature. Next up, we have the Deadeye Duelist. 2-drop, Human Assassin. 1/3, 1 colorless, 1 red. Reach. 1 colorless, tap Deadeye Duelist deals 1 damage to a target opponent. We got Take a Ride, which you already know about. We have the Rictus Robber. 4-drop, 4/3, Zombie Rogue. 3 colorless, 1 black. Zombie Rogue. When Rictus Robber enters the battlefield, if a creature died this turn, create 2 blue and black Zombie Rogue creature tokens. Plot for 3. Next up, we have the Red Rock Sentinel. 3-drop, 2/4, Golem. 3 colorless, Defender. 2, pay 2 colorless, sack a land, draw a card, and create a treasure token. Another Mystic, Mythic Rare. Terror of the Peaks. 5-drop, 5/4, 3 colorless, 2 red, Dragon. Flying. Spells your opponents cast this that target Terror of the Peaks costs an additional 3 life to cast. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Terror of the Peaks deals damage equal to that creature's power to any target. Dear God. Talk about flinging damage. Next up, we have Journey to Nowhere. 2-drop, enchantment, 1 colorless, 1 white. Whenever Journey of Nowhere enters the battlefield, exile target creature. When Journey to Nowhere leaves the battlefield, return the exiled cards to the battlefield under its owner's control. We have, next up is a Wanted Griffin. 4-drop, 3/2, Griffin, flying. Whenever Griffin dies, create a 1/1 red mercenary creature token with tap target creature you control, give it fire breathing until end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. Another full art plane. And we got an elemental token. So that'll do it for this first part of this video. I thank you all for coming out to the channel. Stick around for part 2. And if you're enjoying the content, please like and subscribe. And until next time, this is Cubble, Cubble saying, have a good night, and we shall see you in the next one.